Hey guys, today we're just talking about how we ride. So, I'm gonna hit riding formation first. We have a couple of things to cover in this. First, we have several different ways or riding formation things that we're gonna be doing here. So, most of you should be pretty familiar with these, but I wanna show you the Freshline way. So, we have single file riding. An example of single file riding would be you're on a curvy road, whether that's a single lane road or a two-way road, it is single file. You are not riding next to your partner and you are having 3 seconds of following distance between you and the guy in front of you. You're traveling in a safe distance and ultimately you're responsible for if something happens, you have the means to stop, you have the means to control your motorcycle and not run over another person. So, staggered, when we're saying staggered, what that means is you have 2 wheel tracks in a lane that cars have established. You're riding in one wheel track and the next rider is offset. It is originating by the leader. If the leader chooses to ride near the center lane, then the rest of the team falls in line in a staggered formation behind them. If for some reason the leader gets bored and says, I'm tired of riding on that side and I want to ride over here on this white line, well, guess what the whole team does? Rotates, shifts over, goes in a natural formation, and falls behind that leader. You always want to have 3 seconds following distance between you and the person that's in your line of travel, your lane, your pathway. And that what that does is that gives this guy an opportunity, should a deer hop out or a big pothole, to swerve over into your path and not cause an accident, not have any type of concern with the need to do that. If a person swings over and there is a continued obstacle, assume that you're going to go into a single file formation. If someone is moved over in front of you, drop back. Get that 3 seconds between now, the person that's in front of you, and the person and yourself. And then when that debris or obstacle is passed and you go back to a staggered formation, then you can bring it up and get it a little bit closer where you're about 1.5 seconds behind this person, but offset. I'm going to show you some hand signals. For the most part, we have comms. Comms are great. Comms fail. So I'm going to show you some hand signals, and it's going to be a physical way of actually demonstrating this. So your right hand's going to usually always be on your throttle. So I'm going to indicate with my left hand. This should start from the leader and work its way back, which means if you see the leader do a hand signal, you copy that hand signal. So all the way down the line, sweep knows what's happening. So, single file is 1 finger up. What does that mean? Everyone fall in line. We are going single file behind the leader. Make sure you leave the proper distance. The second one is staggered. 2 fingers up, waving back and forth. That means I want you guys to stagger on either side of the lane. 2 people, this formation, staggered. Make sure you have the proper following distance between the person in front of you and yourself. If your rider goes like this, it means slowing down. If he does the fist, that means stop, or I'm stopping. And then right hand turn, left hand turn. If he does this, it does not mean he's horny. It means keep it tight. It means we're in a city. It means something is happening where we need to, probably at slower speeds, most likely at slower speeds, we need to bring this bunching closer. That's the only exception where you're not going to necessarily be 3 seconds behind the bike in front of you, because there's a purposeful meaning behind that, and it's going to be a short-lived experience of keeping it tight. It won't be a long duration. It's usually if you're trying to make it through an intersection or other things, usually related to city traffic and other vehicles. So, you've heard me say this 3 second rule a couple of times. Our saying is C for 3. Can you see the bike in front of you passes, it passes a crack in the line, are you 3 seconds behind them? Can you go 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000 and dictate your spacing? But C for 3, if you're riding in dust, you might wonder, what is this art, this magical piece of artistry here? If you're riding on a trail and it goes to talcum powder and there's just a plume of dust and you're like, oh damn, can you see through that? Can you not? I've been in numerous occasions where I'm like, I can't see anything. I don't know if a rider's down in that mess. I don't know if it's clear. I don't know if it's a ditch. I don't know if it's a pothole. I can't see anything. So pick an obstacle, pick a rock, pick something, a shrub. Can you see that shrub? And is it 3 seconds between you and by the time you reach that shrub? So the goal of this is to not run over our fellow brothers. There have been several occasions where a rider goes down. It's talcum powder. You're going in, maybe he went in too hot, maybe he can't see. Turns out there's a big hole. He falls in the hole. Well, now he's part of this mist, this cloud, this talcum powder, and you're like, you just come bombing in? Well, don't be the guy that runs over your brother. It's just rude. So that is C for 3. It's a pretty simple concept. It's really going to keep us a bit safer when we go into the unknown. I'm now going to transition to 70% rule. What this means is everyone has varying degrees of ability. And you might be riding and you're like, I'm just flying. I'm at like 100% of my ability. And then Matt Bates is like, I'm at like 25%. Everyone's got varying degrees. Don't ride over 70% of your ability. So know what your ability is. Know when you feel like I'm really pushing hard, and you'll know because you start making mistakes. You'll know because you go too hot into a corner. You'll know because on road cornering, you get wobbly and you come close to the WO line. You'll know because on dirt, you're skidding and a bit out of control. That means you're above 70%. And you need to dial it back. Don't be nervous or scared or feel like there's peer pressure to keep up. Almost every single one of our bad crashes have happened because people are riding above 70%. Fall back to 70% so you have margin for the unexpected, because you will be riding and then all of a sudden there's a ditch and you can jump that ditch. You can get the front wheel up if you're not going balls out. And if you're able to go, okay, I got this. I got enough distance that I see the ditch. I can position myself. I can blip the throttle and get over the ditch. If you're wide open, that ditch is going to be there before you know it, and you're going to just be hanging on and hopefully not crashing. So don't ride over 70% of your ability. And again, that's not measured on the other riders around you. That is your personal ability. So make sure you know what that is. Moto Centipede. This is a very, very awesome name for a cornering system. So we encounter turns all the time on expeditions, and the number one way people get lost is a corner comes up and you roll up and you're like, well, I don't know where everyone is. I don't know which way they turned. Hopefully you've got your Gaia on your phone and you can look down and go, oh, it's a right-hand turn. But we don't want to rely on that. We want to be a team. We want to work as an expedition team and look out for each other. So we implement Moto Centipede. 90% of the time, this will be called out by your leader. Your leader, Nav, will say, you have a right turn coming up. Lead will say, copy that, right turn. Lead will say, right turn. Sweep, do you copy? Sweep says they copy. You make that right turn, and as you make that right turn, you're looking back. Do I have eyes on the person behind me? And what will happen is you look back and you're like, oh, I don't see anyone. That means you come to a stop at that corner. And when you're doing Moto Centipede, like I said, the leader will call out. He'll say, hey, right turn, Moto Centipede. That means look out for your brother. Look out for the guy that's behind you. And guess what? When the guy's coming down the road, the guy that's been following you, maybe it's Derek, whoever it is, should be the same guy. So if you see a different guy, might be an indicator that we lost someone. So let's pay attention to who's behind you. We'll touch on that with 360-degree awareness. But as the rider's coming up, don't go, okay, I see him, and then go. Wait till you get a verbal through comms or a physical indication they see you, because you can really easily take off. They may not have actually saw you, and now they're at a corner not knowing which way to go. So make sure that you call that out. Oftentimes as well, what will end up happening is Sweep may call out and say, I have eyes on the entire team. Okay, cool. That means Moto Centipede isn't necessary. That means Sweep sees every single guy in line and everyone's making the turn. Awesome. It doesn't mean that 2 miles down the road, lead might call out, left turn, Moto Centipede, because as we get spread out, we want to make sure that we still work cohesively as a team. 360-degree awareness. Ultimately, you should be responsible for the rider behind you. Now, I mentioned this in Moto Centipede. If you're sitting there and you come down to a corner, you flag the guy, I'm good to go, and they go and you stop, and Derek was behind me, and now Jordan pulls up. Well, where's Derek? We're all riding in formation. I'm responsible to know if he fell. I'm gonna get on comms and go, Jordan, did you pass Derek? No, I didn't. Okay, hold up, where's Derek? We need to be aware of our surroundings in the riding environment. So we need to be responsible for the person who's behind you. While you're riding, and we may ride for hours without any legitimate corner or intersection. While you're riding, you should be, on average, about every 5 minutes, looking over your shoulder if you don't have mirrors. Do I see the guy behind me? Do I see a headlight? If you don't, if you're riding and you're doing your 5-minute check and you look back and you're like, I don't see anything behind me, slow down a little bit. Do a couple more checks. Are they just coming around a corner? Are you at the end of a long straightaway? If I'm at the end of a long straightaway and I look behind me and I see nothing, I'm stopping and I'm going to relay up to lead. Hey, it's fish, I'm stopping, I don't see the rider behind me. Or prior to doing that, I'll say, if Derek was behind me, Derek, are you in comms? And if he says, yep, I'm good, then I'm like, okay, cool. I can't see him, but I know he's good. If I go, Derek, are you in comms? And Derek doesn't answer, and I know he was behind me, I'm gonna relay up on comms. Hey, lead, I'm stopping, I don't see Derek. So lead can go, okay, I'm gonna slow my pace, there might be a problem. The rest of the team is aware of the situation. And then I stop and I wait. And then eventually, if I see a headlight pop over the hill, Derek, are you in comms? Yep, I'm good. Okay, cool. He was just out of comms. I get back on my bike. I start brapping. I relay up to lead. Derek's good. So lead goes, okay, cool. Continuing on. But that's a 360 degrees awareness. You need to be responsible for each of the brothers on the team. You want to, there's never a time where you should say, I don't know, I wasn't checking. You should always just have that awareness that if you were the one to fall and you're in a ditch, really hurt, you're gonna really hope that your brother takes a look over his shoulder in about 3 minutes and doesn't see you there. So 360 degree awareness also, it also is when you're not riding. So example would be Peru. The team stopped in a busy area to get gas. They all sat down. They're taking a little bit of a break. Everyone's taking off their wildcats. They're throwing them kind of in front of them. One rider threw right beside him, but didn't have eyes on it. There was a little bit of a distraction in the crowd, and they kind of all looked over, what's going on over there, and then they got ready to go, and he went to go grab his wildcat and was gone. So he fortunately didn't have his passport in there, but everything else, his hydration, his food, he had I think a GoPro, other things that were in that wildcat are gone. And if his passport was in that, now he's gonna have difficulty getting home. If he had gobs of cash in that, because normally it's on his person, all that cash is gone. So be tactically aware of your surroundings. Be aware of where's my gear, what is my environment. In Papua New Guinea, we had a situation where we went into fuel, and the gas station, we were instantly surrounded by probably 150 people, and they were all very excited we were there and very close proximity to all of us. And there was one rider who left his wildcat on his bike, and he went off to go, I don't even know, but his helmet was there, his wildcat's there, and so I had to move up to try to guard that gear. And by doing so, some of the locals took offense to that. They even said, we're not going to steal that stuff. I don't know. I'm not willing to really risk it. But now there's a situation, because the one rider was not 360 degree aware, it put me in a vulnerable spot and the team in a vulnerable spot. In that same scenario, there was another member of the team who decided that we need to disperse the crowd. And he said, hey, I'm going to go pop wheelies on the road. Brilliant. Cool. Every single person in the world loves watching a bike pop wheelies. So he went out there, popped wheelies, the crowd migrated away, and we were able to kind of regroup and then exit that scenario so that we weren't blocked in, trapped in. So be aware of your surroundings. It could be your gear, could be your brothers, could be how you ride, could be any number of things. But generally, you're not a passenger on this tour. You are a member of an expedition. You have a role to fulfill. And one of the primary roles is we all look out for each other.